Hi, thanks for watching. I just wanted to give you a little intro on this. This is my first official YouTube video, I guess. So this is my full trip to the Florida Keys. I hope you enjoy. There's 5 different days in here and 5 different scuba dives. Day 1 of our trip to the Florida Keys. We started our day nice and early, and this morning we're going scuba diving. We lugged all of our gear to the boat and loaded everything up for the drive. Today we're headed to a place called Alligator Reef Lighthouse. Last year we dove this same spot and we all got stung by a bunch of jellyfish. Today's swells are forecasted to be under a foot, so it should be a super smooth ride to the lighthouse. As soon as I jumped in, I could see a bunch of fish and could already tell that it was going to be an amazing dive. Not even 2 minutes into the dive, my cousin pointed out this green moray eel hiding under a ledge. Through the school of fish, I saw this super cool spotted trunkfish. All of a sudden, the fish disappeared and a school of barracuda came swimming through. I also kept seeing these schools of tiny fish, and I don't know what they are, so if you do, let me know in the comments. This spot was filled with so much life, and there were so many fish everywhere, even above me. As we started heading back to the boat, we saw this huge 7 or 8 foot nurse shark. He was super adorable and was just chilling under the rocks. My cousin pointed out this scrawled filefish, and I ended up hanging out with it for a couple of minutes. As we were about to end the dive, 2 nurse sharks decided to swim on by, and it was the perfect ending to such an amazing day. After the dive, we went and hung out at a nearby sandbar and enjoyed the afternoon. We ended the day by hanging out on the dock and watching the fish swim by. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to follow for day 2. Come scuba diving with me in the Florida Keys. Today we're at a spot called Rocky Top Reef. As soon as I got to the bottom, I saw a cloud of sand, and then this fish popped out of it. I also couldn't figure out what type of fish this was, so if you know, let me know in the comments. This spot was filled with so many massive schools of fish. Today the water temperature is 87 degrees, and although a lot of the coral here is bleached, this reef is still incredible. Under one of the rocks, this massive pufferfish was just hanging out. This reef is known for having lots of small crevices for juvenile reef fish to hide in. My cousin waved me over because he found this scrawled cowfish. These guys are known to feed by blowing jets of water into the sand. Again, the amount of fish here is just astonishing. Far underneath another rock, my cousin found a Florida spiny lobster, and this is the only one that we saw on the entire dive. One of my favorite fish to see in the Florida Keys are these vibrant blue tangs. There is so much life in this spot, and it's so incredible to see. Thank you so much for coming along, and make sure to watch day 1 of my trip if you haven't already. Day 3 of our trip to the Florida Keys. Today the ocean was super flat, so we headed out to Alligator Reef. We're diving the deep side of the reef today, so it drops down to about 65 feet. As soon as we got down to the bottom, there were so many fish there to greet us. This is the same fish from the last dive, and it's a species of wrasse. Then this little bicolored damselfish decided to say hi. Halfway through the dive, we saw this long fishing line wrapped around the reef. It took us a couple of minutes, but we eventually detached the hook and line from the rocks. My cousin had to swim to the other side of the line and untangle this side as well. I love admiring all the vibrant fish, like this rock beauty and this queen angelfish. As soon as I turned around, I spotted this spotted trunkfish. This reef was filled with so many small reef fish, including these little 4-eye butterfly fish that swam by me. There were also so many juvenile hogfish here. It was so incredible. Come scuba diving with me in the Florida Keys. Today we're diving at a spot called Chica Rocks, and there are so many fish here. This is a blue tang, and they are one of my favorites to see. All of a sudden, a parrotfish popped through one of the rocks, and I love their colors. Every time I looked up, I saw so many different schools of fish. When I looked back down, I saw this school of parrotfish, and look, there's 2 midnight parrotfish. This is my first time ever seeing one in person, and the pictures and videos don't do them justice. As we kept going, more and more schools of fish started appearing. When I looked up again, there was an insane school of sergeant majors swimming around me. This is my favorite clip of the entire dive. There are just so many different species of fish. There were so many brassy chubs swimming around me the entire dive. My cousin pointed me towards this rock, and under it there was a juvenile spiny lobster, and he was so adorable. Every time I looked closer at the reef, all of these juvenile reef fish came weaving through. Look at these spot-fin butterfly fish. They're so cool. This is a porkfish, and this is a French angelfish. Can you see the baby barracuda swimming with the school? This dive was so peaceful, and I love watching everything swim around me. The Florida Keys are home to many coral reefs, and this summer, the water temperature here is reaching record-breaking temperatures. With these temperature rises, we are bound to see more and more coral bleaching. The water temperature here is around 90 degrees. This entire reef was in the process of bleaching, and this just goes to show how small temperature rises make a huge difference in the ocean. Covering less than 1% of the ocean floor, coral reefs support an estimated 25% of all known marine species, so they are super important to protect. Come scuba diving with me in the Florida Keys. Today we're diving at Alligator Reef, and the depth here is anywhere from 15 to 25 feet deep. As soon as we hopped in, we saw this hogfish, and the reef was so amazing. There were so many fish swimming around, like these sergeant majors, and this massive blue tang. Under one of the rocks, I spotted this green moray eel. The water temperature here is around 87 degrees, and there is definitely a lot of coral bleaching happening, but it's not nearly as bad as it was over at Rocky Top Reef. If you haven't seen that video, make sure to go check it out. I'll tag it below. There were so many massive schools of fish here, and it was so cool to see. This reef is protected, and you can definitely tell by the abundance of life. As I looked into the distance, I saw this awesome grouper. And then I spotted one of my favorite fish to see, the queen angelfish. These guys' colors are so vibrant, and juveniles are known to clean parasites and loose scales off of other large fish. All of a sudden, this massive parrotfish came swimming through, and he was so colorful. This spot was filled with so many sergeant majors. This is a black grouper, and they can reach lengths of over 5 feet long and weigh up to 180 pounds. Check out this banded butterfly fish. As I was swimming over to the other rock, this larger black grouper came swimming out, and he started chasing a school of fish. Under the same exact rock, this massive green moray eel was just hanging out, and he was fully out of the rock structure. Next to him, I found this juvenile Florida spiny lobster. Check out this massive blue tang. There were a couple of jellyfish swimming above me, so I decided to try and film one for you guys. I highly recommend checking out this spot if you are ever in the Florida Keys. It also has some great snorkeling. As I was swimming through, I saw this green sea turtle, and this is the first one that I've seen while in the water this entire trip. At first I thought he was stuck, but then I realized he was just trying to take a nap without getting blown away with the current. Green sea turtles are primarily herbivores, eating mostly seagrasses and algae. Swimming through this reef is so peaceful, and everywhere I looked, there were so many schools of fish. Check out these two parrotfish, and I don't know why, but they kind of look like grazing cows to me. Under another rock, I spotted this green moray eel, and we saw 5 of these guys throughout the entire dive. Another one of my favorite fish to see are the porkfish. They are nocturnal and can make a grunting sound by rubbing their teeth together. Right before we ended the dive, I found this scrawled filefish. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe.